The banquet hall buzzed with forks and soft laughter. String lights trembled in the air conditioning, and the scent of roast chicken mixed with coffee. I held my breath and tucked my cane under the chair. She sat quietly, pushed to the corner. That was me, tucked behind a pillar where the servers had to slide sideways to reach me. Denise tilted her chin, bracelets chiming. She can sit by the wall. Charles didn't argue. He just pulled out the corner chair and smiled tight. I'm fine, I said. Plenty of room here. My voice came out steady, but I felt the wood edge biting my forearm. I thought, dignity first, words later. Frank leaned in. Want me to switch, Miss Natalie? Thank you, dear. Enjoy your seat. I can see everyone from here. Clinking glasses drew the room's attention to the head table. The band tested a slow tune, a melody that used to play on jukeboxes when we were young enough to dance without aching afterward. I watched Denise pose for photographs like a hostess on a cruise ship. She moved the centerpiece so it didn't block her face. She didn't notice it blocked mine. Linda whispered, Is she comfortable there? Denise smiled without looking back. Of course. Plates arrived. The server had to lean awkwardly around the pillar to set mine down. Sorry about the squeeze, ma'am. Not your fault, I whispered. The chicken steamed. The glaze smelled like orange zest and pepper. A cousin laughed too loud. Hey, make way for the queen. Denise touched his sleeve. She's nothing special. That stung. 7 words. Measured. Precise. I put my napkin in my lap, hand steady. I thought, let her words land now. I'll answer differently. Frank raised his water glass to speak, but the bandleader tapped the mic first. Folks, after dessert we'll do tributes. Tributes. The word rolled across the tablecloth like a marble. Charles stiffened. Denise didn't hear it. She was checking her lipstick in her phone camera. Grandma, Linda called softly, do you want to come closer? I'll be where I'm meant to be, I said. The servers dimmed the lights a notch. The hum of conversation thickened. At the head table, someone lifted a folded program. I saw my name printed on the back, tiny, as if it had slipped in by accident. My fingers touched the cool ribbon hidden under my shawl. I thought, not yet. Glass rattled again. A cousin cleared his throat. Before tributes, one toast. Everyone turned toward him and forgot the woman at the wall. Cliffhanger beat. I reached for the shawl clasp, then stopped as the microphone squealed. The squeal of the microphone dragged me into another noise, from another year, helicopter rotors shredding. Humid air. The banquet's pepper and orange became iodine and canvas. It was 1970-something, the field hospital groaning, and I was younger, fingers raw from the antiseptic sting. Hold pressure. He'll make it, I told the frightened private. He looked 17. Yes, ma'am. I remember the feel of gauze, the weight of responsibility heavier than any metal. Back then, respect wasn't posed or posted. It was earned in sweat, prayer, and stubbornness. I thought, you don't beg for honor. You shoulder it. My hometown threw a parade when I came back. Small-town banners. Brass band slightly off-key. The American Legion Hall smelled of leather polish and wood. They pressed a small box into my hands on a quiet Tuesday, away from cameras. For meritorious service, the officer said. I didn't know what to say, so I said thank you and baked pies for the next fundraiser. Years turned into holidays. And graduations. My son married Denise under a rented arch with silk flowers. She laughed big and bought bigger. She liked chairs that scraped floors and glasses that chimed. She liked photographs where she stood in the center. She never asked what I kept in the velvet box on my dresser. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I was old-fashioned. Maybe I didn't speak loudly enough for this clattering world. But respect isn't volume, it's a way you set a table, a way you look someone in the eye. Denise set a lovely table. She didn't always meet eyes. Grandma, come up front, Linda had said last Thanksgiving. I'm good here, I told her. I can see the children run. I thought, they think quiet is small. Quiet can be deep. In the months before tonight, Denise planned this dinner like a campaign. She chose the hall for its chandeliers and the menu for its photographs online. The Legion Hall is fine, I'd suggested. They have a good chef. It's dated, she said, wrinkling her nose. This place is elegant. The microphone squeal faded, and I snapped back to the table. The glaze on my chicken had cooled, a thin varnish beneath the light. Denise raised her flute for a photo, only the rim touching her lip. Make sure the background is that wall of lights, she told the cousin with the phone. The wall of lights hid a plaque listing names of donors from the Legion. Names like Harold and Betty. Names that sounded like home. The bandleader shuffled his papers. Okay, folks, tributes after this toast. I folded my napkin. My fingers brushed the shawl's clasp again. The ribbon underneath was smooth as water against my skin. I thought, When the moment is right, truth stands up by itself. Cliffhanger beat, the cousin finished his toast, and the bandleader finally said, "We'll start with a quiet hero." "First, a word about family," the cousin said. "We're lucky." He nodded toward Denise. Cameras lifted again like eager birds. People smiled toward the head table. My corner gathered shadows, and the air felt a touch cooler. I rolled the cane handle under my palm, the cherry wood warm from my skin, and Denise waved at the servers. "Can we move that extra chair? It clutters the picture." The server looked at me, eyes apologetic. "It can stay," I said. "I'm using it." A murmur fluttered. Not laughter, just the soft sound people make when they notice something they should have noticed earlier. Charles raised his hands. All right, let's keep going." He glanced at me and then away, as if the pillars shielded him from accountability. The bandleader consulted his list, lips moving. Frank slid his chair back an inch. "Ms. Natalie, want my spot?" "I'm steady," I said. "Finish your meal." Denise lifted her chin. "We have a program." Her smile tightened, her bracelets chimed again, little bells in a store window. The third sense tonight was touch, the ribbon under my shawl. I felt its edges, the stitch holding it firm. My heart slowed. I thought, breathe. Let them declare themselves. Around me, the hall glowed. The dessert station released a whiff of cinnamon. Coffee sputtered in silver urns. Linda finally stood. "Before we go on, I'd like to recognize someone." Denise's eyebrows climbed. "We're not there yet." "It's important," Linda said. "Mom?" She looked at Charles. "Please." The bandleader sensed the shift and leaned to the microphone. "Sometimes the program serves the moment." He smiled toward me. "Sometimes the moment writes the program." All eyes drifted my way, not fixed yet, just curious. Someone near the center whispered, "Is that Natalie?" Another voice answered, "Charles's mom." Chairs creaked. Forks settled. Cameras lowered. Denise tried to keep the spotlight. "Let's move on, please." She reached for the cousin's phone. Her hand hovered, then stopped. I set my napkin on the table, folded cleanly in thirds. My cane clicked once as I rose. The pillar no longer blocked me, it framed me. I thought, do it gently. Respect doesn't shout. Frank stood halfway, ready to help. I nodded him down. "I'm all right." I slipped the shawl's clasp. The fabric slid from my shoulders, soft as a sigh. Visual cliffhanger beat. A small, dark velvet box appeared in my hand as I stepped forward. I set the velvet box on the table where the light was kind. The lid opened with that felted whisper, "You never forget." I lifted the metal by its ribbon. The band fell quiet. Her metal proved she was a hero. The bronze star caught the chandelier's glitter and turned it sincere. Not flashy. Not loud. Just honest metal reflecting honest light. I pinned it to my dress, the backing cold against my skin. My hands didn't tremble. They had learned steadiness long ago. Denise blinked. "What is that?" Linda's voice softened. "It's my grandmother's medal." The bandleader adjusted the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Natalie served as an army nurse. She is recognized for gallantry and meritorious service under fire." A hush rolled outward, not theatrical, reverent. Someone near the center whispered, "My brother wore that ribbon." Another added, "My father, in '69. The hall felt smaller, closer, like a church just after a hymn. I spoke into the quiet. I was one of many. We stood together. A beat. A young man once squeezed my hand and said, "Tell my mom I wasn't afraid." I told her. I promised him. Denise swallowed. "We didn't know." "You never asked," Linda said, not unkindly. I touched the metal. Its edges warmed beneath my fingers. I thought, say only what serves the room. "I keep this in a drawer," I said. "I don't wear it to be seen. Tonight I wore it so the youngest at this table know what quiet can carry." Frank stood and clapped once. It sounded like a starting pistol. But people didn't cheer wildly. They rose like the slow tide. Hats came off. Hands settled over hearts. A veteran at table 3 gave a small, perfect salute. The bandleader let the silence breathe, then spoke, "Ms. Natalie, would you honor us by standing with your family?" I turned to Denise. The lights painted rings in her eyes. She wasn't cruel. She was careless. There's a difference, and difference can be mended. She stepped aside, leaving the center open. "Thank you," I said. I took 2 steps, cane tapping softly, metal bright but not boastful. The ribbon brushed my collarbone, a familiar weight. The smell of leather polish drifted from a display case by the door, and for a heartbeat, I was back in that Legion Hall on a Tuesday, pies cooling on a windowsill. The band picked a gentle chord. The room stood with it. Cliffhanger beat. The microphone angled toward Denise as the bandleader said, "Would you like to say a few words?" Denise reached for the microphone, then paused. Her bracelets didn't chime this time. I was wrong, she said, voice small. I wanted pretty pictures. I forgot about people. She looked at me. Natalie, I'm sorry. Apologies can be photographs too, kept or discarded. I kept this one. Thank you, I said. We all forget things. We can all remember again. Charles moved beside her. Mom, will you sit up front? I'll stand a bit, I said. My legs are good tonight. Frank grinned. Best moment of the evening. Servers froze, unsure whether to move. I nodded to them. Coffee will help. They exhaled. And poured. The smell rose warm and familiar, diner strong, the way we liked it when jukeboxes played in nickels and quarters. A little girl tiptoed over. Can I see it? I knelt carefully. You can touch the ribbon. Her fingers brushed it, the way you test lake water in spring. It's smooth. It is, I said. I thought, let the next generation start with respect. At the head table, Linda lifted a program. For those who don't know, Natalie volunteers at the Legion, coordinates care packages, and makes the world's most dangerous lemon bars. Laughter, easy and kind, rolled through the hall. Denise stepped from the center. Please, take my seat. I prefer the edge, I said. It's where I can see the whole table. She smiled, real this time. Then I'll sit by you. We ate dessert without ceremony. The metal rested against my chest, warm as a hand. When the band finally played a tune from long ago, some people swayed in place, couples who remembered the steps, widows and widowers who remembered the feeling. The cousin lifted his glass again, voice soft. To Natalie. I shook my head. To everyone who serves in ways we don't see. Respect outlives wealth. And then, just as the camera lights dimmed and forks paused above plates, the table went silent.